Hello guys, it's been a while, but we're back with the 0 to 6 figure portfolio series. This is episode 49, I believe, and things have changed a lot recently. It's been a while since the last update. I think it's actually been 3 weeks almost, and that's because I actually went to Singapore for Token 2049. Previously, the portfolio was just under $30,000, a bit of red everywhere, but generally the market has done pretty well recently, and we've seen things like BitTensor really rally. Cloud, Bunny, Validao, a lot of these alts have done really well. And so now the portfolio stands today at $36,794, which is really good to see. Now, one thing that you may notice is Tau has really outperformed the market. I think over the last 1 month, it is 100+% up, which is incredible to see. And because of that, Tau is actually my biggest holding in the portfolio right now. It's overtaken ETH, and that's great to see. Good to see. And now we are less than 3x away from hitting our target. Now we're going to split this video into a couple of different things. Firstly, we're going to talk about my trip to Singapore. We'll then talk a little bit about some of the recent things in the market, especially things like Eigen Layer. And lastly, we'll talk about Bitcoin versus ETH, and we'll kind of cover that as well. So yeah, first things first, let's talk about my trip to Singapore. And I actually did write a little bit about this, kind of my experiences and some of the things that I was particularly interested in, some of the things that I saw and some of the narratives as well. Well, firstly, I think DeFi is definitely going to be pretty big going forward. I saw some really good collaborations with the likes of Aave and Maker, which is now rebranded to Sky. The Bearer Chain ecosystem looks really strong, especially from the DeFi perspective. There's new chains launching with a lot of DeFi focus, things like Hyperliquid, who are going to have an EVM, and individual protocols like Pendle, who very kindly invited me to their office, really gave me a little idea of kind of what they're coming out with as well. So I think in general, DeFi looks really interesting, really strong, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it's also great to see a bunch of different content creators as well. Some of you guys who are watching probably, I got a chance to meet some of you, so that was awesome. I think there was really a lot of hype and narrative around AI, especially things like BitTensor. And lastly, there seems to be this new narrative around Bitcoin DeFi. Now, potentially this is a little bit forced, but I think there is some interesting opportunities around, especially with the whole idea of restaking, which kind of comes over into Eigen Layer as well. Some really cool stuff being built there as well. So yeah, overall I had a really good week. Got to meet a bunch of different founders, builders, content creators, and protocols as well, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, I look forward to the next ones as well. So that's pretty much one of the reasons why I haven't been able to make an update. I also got sick at the same time. Thankfully I'm a little bit better now, but that's pretty much why I haven't been able to create any sort of updates with the portfolio at the moment. Now, in terms of things that have recently happened, one of the things that we've seen is Eigen Layer. Eigen Layer launched their token finally, is trading at around 6 billion FDV. It's slightly down from launch price. I think it was actually around about $4, $4.30. We are a little bit down, 15-20%. Nothing too drastic. Now, I've claimed my Eigen. I haven't put it in the portfolio yet, so I will do that. So probably by the time you're watching this, if you click on the portfolio link, which you can find in the description, hopefully the Eigen has been added, and our portfolio should be hopefully closer to $40,000 then, which is nice to see. So Eigen Layer, I've been staking my ETH, or restaking I should say, from day one of Eigen Layer. It's been there for a long time, and thankfully we've all been rewarded for it pretty nicely actually. I think the APR overall added up to well over 50%, which has been quite nice if you add in the Eigen token. Now, what am I going to do with the Eigen token? I haven't yet decided, but at the moment I'm not planning to sell it just yet. I think if the market does hopefully trend upwards, then I think Eigen will hopefully outcompete. It's a new coin, it's shiny, it's got attention, it's got a low float as well. So I think the market makers should be able to pump this a little bit, but who knows, of course. Airdrops, historically have been dumped, and tokens in this market have performed generally quite poor, quite poor actually. The likes of, Celestia, which from market peak to now has dumped really a lot. Things like Dimension really dumped a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't be too eager to buy here just yet, but I also at the same time, I'm interested in kind of the asset itself and kind of wondering if it can get a nice pump. So there's that. So that's pretty much where we are with the portfolio. Otherwise, nothing much has changed. The last thing I wanted to talk about today is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Now, you all know that I actually sold some ETH for Bitcoin, and I think I'm going to continue to do this. ETH BTC continues to fall lower and lower. And one of the reasons why I really enjoyed having ETH was the fact that I could, restake it, I could farm it here and there and earn some airdrops and some good yields. But now that Eigen Layer is finished, and now that some of these different opportunities are coming to an end, I am actually more keen on kind of allocating more towards Bitcoin because I can use it in various different opportunities. This gentleman, FOB, or lady I should say, has put out a bunch of different opportunities in this thread, 75 different opportunities, including Babylon, Lombard, Bedrock, Solve, Coinbase, EtherFi, Pump BTC, DLC, a bunch of different protocols here. And I think this is possibly something where there is some opportunity, more so than with your ETH. And so for this reason, I am kind of tempted to allocate more into Bitcoin rather than ETH. Now, I think right now ETH has a clear narrative problem. I've talked about this before. And I actually talked about kind of some of the things that I think needs to happen for ETH to really get some more attention and really pump the asset itself. So I've written a few of these points. I think, first of all, Gwei needs to be higher. There's no kind of ultrasound money without it. I think for the Ethereum L1 chain, as much as I am not really a big fan of meme coins, I think it does need some sort of meme coin season, which can really create attention, some narrative. It can get gas fees going, and also it can get rotation back into ETH, the asset itself. I think we need to see more sustained DeFi activity on the layer 1 itself, not on the layer 2s, on the layer 1, locking up TVL. I think DeFi TVL really needs to go above $100 billion again. I think we need to see L2s getting more block space filled. And also, I think we need to see more applications like Eigen Layer that really suck up ETH, the ETH supply anyway. I think we need to see much closer alignment between layer 2s and layer 1s. At the moment, layer 2s are capturing 90% of the fees at times. And with ETH L1 only getting 10%, especially when it comes to revenue, I think that alignment isn't correct, especially if you want ETH, the asset, to kind of capture more value. Institutions certainly need to be bidding ETH, which at the moment they're not really. The ETF inflows are pretty mundane. I'd like to see some more sustained and strong inflows, especially when it comes to the ETH ETF. Bitcoin ETF seems to be a lot better than ETH at the moment. So yeah, there were a few days where the BlackRock ETF kind of got inflows, but generally we saw outflows, and even the last few days we've been seeing pretty strong outflows. I think now that Eigen Layer is over, I'd like to still see some narrative around staking and restaking to really make sure that that doesn't die off. And I think with the layer 2s especially, we need to have less fragmentation of liquidity. There are some things like the Polygon aggregate layer that are helping to solve this, but it's so far away still. And I think we need to see more of that. There's so much fragmentation, and this is obviously not good for ETH, the asset. And lastly, I've written that some of the newer L2s that are coming, things like Mega ETH, which are hopefully going to have 100,000 TPS, they need to capture some of the value for ETH. Even if they may not be Ethereum aligned, I think they can still help ETH, the asset. So at the moment, I don't see many of these playing out whatsoever. And so for this reason, I think ETH BTC is going to continue to fall. And that's why I'm more bullish on Bitcoin rather than ETH at the moment, especially because of the farming and yield and airdrop opportunities that come with it. So with that, I think we'll have to wait and see how things play out, but that's pretty much my plan at the moment, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about this in a little bit more detail in future episodes. If you have any questions about my asset selection or anything that you want to ask me directly about the portfolio, please let me know in the comment section below. I think it would be great to have some extra discussions around this, and maybe I can clarify some of the details in further videos, especially as we get to episode 50, which is a nice landmark. But yeah, this is pretty much where we are, $36,500. We're doing okay, I think, and we'll see how we go 1 week at a time. But yeah, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll have plenty more educational content in the not so distant future.